I got something.
And I really enjoy
Oh, I've got a witch.
I was gonna say, okay, if not, I do too.
Sledgehammer.
call to order the Middleville DDA meeting for Tuesday, September 2nd. We'll do the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And can I get a roll call, please?
Justine King.
Here.
Sherry DeGraff. Trevor DeGroot.
Here.
Tim Densham.
Here.
Casey Haney.
Here.
Stephanie McDonald.
Here.
Eric Schaefer.
Here.
Kevin Smith.
Here.
Ann Olberg.
Perfect. Moving to approval of the meeting agenda.
Ms. Chair, should we make a motion to excuse Ms. Rada?
We can if you want. Nothing in the bylaws that says
There's nothing? Never mind. I'd like to move on.
we're open to whatever we excuse her regardless. Okay. Approval of meeting agenda. Anyone want to make a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the meeting agenda as presented.
I'll support. Motion with support. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Moving on to the consent agenda, which includes the DDA meeting minutes for August and the approval of the bills through August 26th for $11,411.51. Just need a motion.
Making a motion, I would make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Motion with support, and can I get a roll call, please?
Sorry, 1 second.
Oh, yeah.
Ann Olberg.
Yes.
Sherry DeGraff. Trevor DeGroot.
Aye.
Tim Densham.
Yes.
Casey Haney.
Aye.
Stephanie McDonald.
Aye.
Eric Schaefer.
Yes.
Kevin Smith.
Aye.
Justine King.
Yes. Any public comments?
You guys have nothing to say?
Oh, they have plenty, but.
Oh.
Skip them.
They'd be grounded for you.
Reserved time, none. Unfinished business, none. Look at us roll. New business, professional development and training. Doug.
So absolutely. So as you recall, this is the item that was presented at the last meeting. However, I received an update is found in the background that the dollar allocation being approved by the grant is $500 difference than what they had previously provided. So the ask is for the DDA total contribution of $1,000 instead of the $500 that was presented at the last meeting. I've included a little bit of information about what this pertains, go into details, anything that you would like to know. But so far I've been moving along with the first course as the village had covered that cost.
Any questions for Doug?
Is that $1,000,
That's the total for this year.
Okay.
Yep. And not to exceed it. It may be less.
Okay, anyone want to make a motion?
Make a motion to approve the additional expense.
I'll support. Motion with support to give the $1,000 instead of $500. Can I get a roll call, please?
Sherry DeGraff. Trevor DeGroot.
Aye.
Tim Densham.
Yes.
Casey Haney.
Yes.
Stephanie McDonald. Eric Schaefer.
Yes.
Kevin Smith.
Aye.
Justine King.
Yes. Okay, moving on to.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ann Olberg. I'm sorry.
Yes, okay, passes. Next up, 2026 budget.
So as you recall, as part of our board retreat, we were talking about new structuring along funds as part of the DDA objectives moving forward. The budget that you see before you is fairly much in line with this. However, today I'd like to field any comments, questions, or concerns. I was speaking with the finance or our treasurer earlier today, and that the GL numbers will need to be adjusted. So this wouldn't be able to be approved exactly as is. But, a draft will be presented, very much similar to this, just with different, GL numbers. I don't know if there's any comments, questions, or concerns, but the items listed to the various committees are the same. The only change in relation to what was presented as part of the Main Street is that we've kept some of the previous line items, like contractual services, in case if there are costs outside of those committees. It's very unlikely, but, we had left those on there. And of course, as you know, the administrative, those are all determined through the treasurer. The one thing I can note, my apologies, but one item, the funds allocated towards insurance, that's just a max, possible. Because I had questioned that myself as well as to why that number would have, but that would only be based on the benefits that have been previously been provided.
Okay, and what's OPEB funding?
So that is a retirement plan that was available to individuals who retired around, the early 2000s to late 90s. So there is the first director for the DDA. He's one that was eligible for that.
Okay, yeah. I see. So where's that been coming out of before?
So it's been coming out of the general fund that the finance director, she had divided these based on the fees. So it has shifted, a couple times since my time being here. I can't say how much of that has been allocated to the DDA before, but I certainly will ask.
Yeah, I'd just be curious because it's, being a separate line item, it's more obvious.
Yeah, especially because it wasn't being seen as part of the 2025 budget. So let me, look into why this is on 2026, because this is not something that's available to any village employee that's currently working here.
For utilities, is that our new internet?
Yeah. Utilities and the phone.
What is for the equipment rental? Is that for like anything we?
So
bought, or
that is for
specifically something?
that is for any equipment that we may need. That line item has not been used, in recent years.
Okay.
A lot of times if we're
Yeah, I know
needing
this was
equipment,
down
it's probably
by-
something that DPW has.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the reason as to why this is, dropping. Because if I was to pull you the past 10 years, that we have not rented much equipment, if any.
Okay, yeah, that's why I asked. Okay.
So what is the consulting services? Because it wasn't budgeted for and planned to be budgeted for, but it's $11K this year.
So absolutely. So the contractual services, that's what you're referencing?
Consultant services at the top of the,
Oh, okay. So the reason how this is, broken down, so we have consultant and contractual. That treasurer had broken this down as separate items, suggesting how any potential project is being budgeted for. Originally, we had contractual services as one large line item. The suggestion is, or at least in regards to this budget, is that having that as a separate line item based on committee. So that a design committee has a certain percentage of funds allocated towards it for contractual services, or Vitality has so much, promotions has so much.
I'm tracking that, but I just look at that as when I see the things that are out of.
I believe that's a clerical error, but I'll get, clarification on this too.
All right.
Because whether it's salary and wages of a, contractual employee, or if it's for, something else that we get billed the exact same.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, there would be no difference in us paying that out.
not to be OCD, but why are we only doing the organization and economic vitality separately and not like design and
So, and I had asked for that to be listed as well, that, noting that the facade being the design budget, and
Right.
suggesting that. So, with the new codification or the new GL numbers,
Mhm.
it will represent that. But I'll certainly ask this question too.
just because, then it would be more consistent because
Yeah.
I'll be consistent. So. Okay.
Maybe Tim already addressed that, but the contractual services, the drop off on that from 33K to $3,000 the following year.
So originally I had suggested that potentially being zeroed. The reason it was 33K was based on, the TIF allocation for that proposal and streetscape. But is that as we're moving forward with the development plan, having projects that we prioritize from a design, economic vitality organization, you name it, and then allocating those funds according to those specified projects rather than having just a large umbrella check. So these dollars will each have a mission, early on in fiscal year 2026 if approved, of course.
Beautiful. Well, sounds like we're coming back to that later. Anything else?
So you're absolutely correct.
Good. Okay. Here's your report. Done.
So absolutely, there's a good amount of things that I can go into, in detail here. One thing that I wanted to iterate before going into too much detail is that we have, there's an effective meeting training opportunity on October 21st from 6 to 9 at the Village Hall. Anyone that's interested, please let me, Heather, let someone know. If you've had a chance to look, be a great opportunity. Beyond that, I'm sure you know that, this report is being broken down in similar to like the committees. And is attached to that report, you'll also see the Main Street Committee structure that we had discussed with each person, being committee members on those committees, along with that everything on here would potentially be the same. I know that Ms. DeGraff had mentioned that she was interested in being on the promotions committee. So other than that, that's the only, change I see to this document. Of course, if or when these committees meet separate, then they would have to determine who the chair of those committees are. But most of these outside of promotions will likely be presented to this board, only if there are additional meetings that need to be, had, then, that's when the committees likely meet. So if anyone has any questions about this, if there's anything you'd like me to go into detail about. Sure.
Sure, you said the effective training, I think you called it, that's
Yeah.
October 21st.
That's correct.
What time?
6 to 9.
PM?
Yep.
What's covered in that?
So it's going to talk about proper structures. I believe the person's clerk, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so their background is as a clerk, but we're anticipating having village council with DDA and, planning commission or other members that are interested, that'll talk about proper meeting structure, Robert's Rule of Order, all that type of stuff. So certainly if you're interested in, like a chair position, it will be a great opportunity. There's a lot of things that are likely going to be discussed. So yeah, we already have the person coming. Anyone that's interested, please let us know.
Let me get this straight. We're gonna have a special meeting about how to run effective meetings, and it's gonna be a 3-hour meeting.
Sounds great.
Just throwing.
That's correct.
Sounds like solid government to me.
That's correct.
Well, I'm on vacation that week, so please, somebody who wants to take my job, please go. And they're over.
It's up in February, right?
Yeah. And January, I think we will do a new chair, so every year we go. So please learn and take the position. Okay. No, it's really fine. So November board meeting?
So, I didn't even bring that up yet.
I was
But
like, I
yeah,
don't
so
think you
the
said that.
November board meeting, that we do have elections on the night of the November board meeting. So I was going to ask the board if everyone could potentially be available the day after. Maybe we could potentially have a Wednesday meeting. The significance of it is, we don't typically have a December meeting. So we, prepay bills through the rest of the year. If we end up viewing that there's a need for a December meeting, we can make changes to next year's meeting schedule. But previous years, we hadn't had a December meeting. So I'd anticipate the next year's schedule coming at the next board meeting.
So will that give enough time to the promotion committee to put together Christmas? Do you know what I mean? Or will we like pre-approve spending and stuff for that? Or is that already pre-approved because it's in our budget?
So that's a good conversation. They have not had a meeting or engagement
Assuming,
yet.
yeah.
That, it gives a significant amount of time, and I can certainly, message Cassie after this too, and we can get a response from her.
I'm just
I
curious
feel
if
it
we
should
push
be.
it.
Well, and you're a day later
Right,
rather than a day earlier.
sure.
So,
But I was thinking
it
even
would
later
be-
in the month potentially if we need it.
Yeah.
Not obviously not Thanksgiving, but you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
and I'm
just to
thinking
give
we
time.
will probably meet after Thursday,
I would assume, yeah.
I would think.
I was like, I'm not trying to speed you guys along, but
We don't have anything.
Like planned yet, yeah.
and there's still a couple months, but I just
Yeah.
didn't wanna.
Yeah.
So anyway.
The
just a
challenge, the
thought.
challenge too is that a lot of the weeks after that, there may be other potential meetings that would
Right.
conflict at that time, so we
Yeah.
might have to do a little bit more finagling. That's just the one day I noticed that was available.
I think we can leave it that for now as long as everybody's fine, and then if it comes up closer to.
Is there any conflicts for that day, November 5th? Does that look like it's potentially available,
That's the Wednesday, right?
the Wednesday? Okay, so we'll look at tentatively putting out notice for moving the November meeting to the 5th. Is there anything else? Comments, questions, concerns? As I mentioned, please do complete your scorecards. That it's important that we get everyone's scorecards completed in order for us to move forward with the Main Street program. So, the training as well. If anyone's had issues with accessing the training, please let me know. I believe I sent everyone the training information, but if I haven't, do let me know.
Okay. Informational items, is there anything that you need to touch on for Cassie, or are we good just reading through?
I mean, it's pretty straightforward. If you have any questions, any of these, like she iterates what her current focus is, I'll be more than happy to try to address any comments, questions, or concerns related to the report. But I believe that Ms. Haney and Ms. McDonald had already addressed that Heritage Days, everything was underway. And
Sounds great. How did the last Riverbank series go?
well,
Because there was no food trucks, right, or Rotary, so there was nothing. So I was just curious if it was if you noticed like any impact.
so there was still, and I believe, I don't know if, Mr. Smith would like to speak about it either. Yeah.
Whatever.
I'm glad. I didn't see you, but because I wasn't there.
It was kind of a hillbilly band. It's obvious the turnout was low.
Okay.
I would still
Yeah.
say it was on par with,
Like 75.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was 75 or 100 people, probably 75. I think it speaks to the power of having more things in a concentrated area, and it didn't have stickiness, because if people didn't really like the music, that was a good band though.
Yeah.
It was a really good band.
What was the situation with no food trucks or anything?
So the food trucks, they had canceled, and weren't able to get a replacement.
And with Rotary, I was on the road coming back from
Yeah.
Cedar Point Cassie told me there was a potential illness within the
Yeah.
band that would prevent them from playing.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I just made the decision
Yeah.
right then and there. I called Rotary and I said, we just have to.
Yeah, we did originally think that there was a chance it wasn't gonna happen.
Got it. Okay. Totally fair. Yeah, I was just curious because I saw that and I was like, oh,
Yeah, it was like the day 1 to 2 days before.
no.
Yeah, everything.
I think
Yeah, I
it was
was
the singer and
just
then
like, I
the
don't
singer
Yeah.
miraculously recovered. So.
Yeah.
Well, good. I guess, I mean, that's good. Okay, beautiful. Any other comments on Cassie's stuff? Good. Okay. We also have all the other information items in there, and then we'll move to public comment again, and seeing none again.
Did you see that look
As
he
you
gave
can
you?
tell. Yeah.
She wants to say something.
Yikes. Okay.
You didn't say anything, even about your mom.
She
Is she too strict?
Okay. On to DDA board member comments. Okay,
I definitely
excited for Heritage Day.
I'm getting ready for Heritage Day.
Awesome. Coming up quick.
So I've had a chance to go in the last few weeks to look at the downtowns of Wayland. My church is there, that's pretty easy, but Cadillac as well. And the thing that I noticed when I went down there is there are hardly any empty or for rent or anything. So the downtowns were busy. And so I go back to what it is that's different about those locations than what we have. And not to disparage Wayland, but it's just a road. I mean, there's no trail, there's no river, there's no nothing. It's just there. And
They've got a casino.
they've got a casino, but I just haven't noticed a whole lot of traffic
Yeah.
in Wayland since there, I know they had some big expectations and maybe there's some, more housing or something like that, but just really haven't seen a lot of.
They do a really good job with their events.
Yeah, they have a lot more
They
events.
have, events almost every other weekend,
Hmm.
if not monthly.
So I just thought I would point that out, because now every time I go to a small town, I have some time to spend on perusing it, and I just noticed that others seem to have a better, are taking better than what we've been able to do so far. So I still can't figure out what that difference is,
Yeah.
because of course, if I could know what that was, I would love to share, but it's just interesting how the different towns, are having better luck with that.
And Wayland is Main Street, so that could be something that we can use resources for in the future to, you know what I mean? To
Mhm.
hopefully.
Intent.
Lowell,
It's
on Main
truly
Street?
intent. Yeah,
Is Lowell Main Street? I don't think so.
Interesting. Because they also, I feel like, do a good job with marketing.
Well, the Main Street helps with providing like best practices or, possible funds. So it really just depends on what the challenge is and how much benefit it may be as a program to some communities.
That's all.
Good call out.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Hi.
Hi.
So I did query some of the vendors at the farmer's market, which now I wish I hadn't done that every week.
Yeah.
So, I've got a short runway ahead, and I definitely will, but learned a couple of really valuable lessons, just getting feedback from the vendors who, by the way, some are just gonna be here. Like, they are intent on showing up. Every single one of them said the exact same thing. What would you do, when I asked the question, what would you do better? And every one of them said, have more vendors. Have more vendors, because more vendors means more variety, which means more people. And the other thing that they said is more things to support the vendors while they're there. So food trucks, can't have enough of them. Like, I'm just saying, it's like, God bless hamburgers and hot dogs, but if the vendors are down there and they want something different, the more the better, and the more again, the more concentration, they all agree that the more concentration that fed into creating the farmer's market would likely draw more people. And the last thing is that they said, it would be really great if there's more signage. And whether those are farmer market feather flags or whatever, now that we've kind of gone through that whole exercise, it's clearly not illegal to have more signage. So if we, maybe one day a week, even though we have a beautiful, extremely expensive LED sign out by the corner, it might be really cool to have something jolt people's attention and say farmer's market. Maybe that's a feather flag, maybe that's a banner or whatever, something tasteful that says, get downtown, there's something going on down there. And so signage was one thing, creating more activities around the vendors and creating more variety for them. And then obviously the last, which I opened with, is just to have more people being vendors. And how do we attract vendors? How do we make it worth their while to show up? When I ask people, people made money. Every one of them, I know I asked that question very gently. It's like, did you feel like this was worth your time? And every one of them said, yeah, I made X number of dollars, and for one day, that is certainly not terrible. But I think, again, spending more time on the little minute details and just micromanaging that process, I think, to Tim's point, is you create vibrancy through activity, through intent, through planning, and just hyper focusing on what your outcome is. And I think we have a river and we have a beautiful downtown, and how do we pack people into these, if we have open storefronts, I think part of that is the landlords for sure. There's a couple that really could use some love, and there's resources available to them and they're offered to them all the time. And so that's one thing, is just landlord intent. And the other would be having that vibrant downtown and having it be on a regular clip. I think it would make a big difference. So I learned a lot. And I plan on learning more. It was great to visit and meet them, and they're all amazing people. And certainly we could learn a lot from just having that conversation with them. That's all I got.
Okay, so I've got some follow-up on that. One, we brought this up, the signage for the farmer's market before. So this is like a reattack. I mean, who would be the person that we would pin the rose on to go and take action on that?
So that's a great point you bring up. It was debated whether it was legal or not. And so we had to hire a lawyer and go through our ordinances and figure out what the legalities of the local municipality putting signs in public areas. And we had to go and we spent time, effort, and energy on, is this legal for us to do this? The answer is yes, it is legal, and yes, we should do more of it. So I think we wanted to clear the path for that so that we could do it unapologetically. And I think we've arrived for sure, and now there's intent. So
awesome. So who is the person?
So great question. So the marketing funds that came in to the farmers market are anticipated on, promoting and marketing of that market. Being that now we've established, a new structure for the promotions committee. Those would be the individuals that have that dialogue. Previously, there was asks for signage, but not this type. So I can forward this to Cassandra so she can try to get that addressed.
So the second thing is, I over the weekend I brought a buddy of mine, and we looked at my space there as potential as a game store. That's what it is. And as we were looking around, he's been to my house numerous times, but he'd never been to the downtown. He just went down 37. And so when I showed him what it was like down here, he's like, oh, this is neat. There should be a lot more people down here. And I had no idea. And I'm like, so I think that along with a temporary one, to say there's a market going on, because that has, like you said, let them know that today there's something different. I think that along the same vein that we kind of talked about before, people who are going up and down that road do not know that there's a river park here, and do not know there's kayak park or a trout park, whatever you call it, down. They don't know that there's a river walk, so there's all this incredible, unique opportunity that we have here. I think Hastings sort of has they have a park there, but I don't think they're tied into the trails like we are. And so we've got this unique venue, but people don't know. I think a lot of people don't know about it unless they live there. So I think along with that, if we had a sign pointing downtown, like, first of all, there's a downtown. It's not just strip malls. That's not what Middleville is. And that there's, all these other amenities, and go this way, then I think that will help. Because I don't think the strip mall, that people see that every time they go by there, but it's down here that I think,
Yeah,
We
we need
can
larger,
go-
more obvious signs
Yeah.
too, because there is like shopping district, but it's almost a whisper
right,
of 37.
so.
And if that's an interest to the board, I had previously had that as a line item on my report, soliciting interest. It's something that I can bring back for a future meeting.
I think it's important, from what I can see, is if you bring that back, bring it back more specifically maybe. So like downtown wayfinding, period. Or, do you know what I mean? Like
Yep.
at 37, because I think that's where I look at stuff and I go, this is too broad, I don't know. You know what I mean? So if we come back,
That's true.
Yeah,
if we bring it back more specifically, then maybe we can have that specific conversation versus it being a little more broad.
Yeah, because next year we could potentially budget for like gateway aspects.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
like anything related to wayfinding, there's going to be limited
Yeah.
funds this year.
You're up.
I have a follow-up question on the market stuff. So more vendors, I keep saying that at almost every meeting, but what is and this almost feels like a Cassie question, but I'm sure somebody can answer it. What's the criteria for being a vendor? And I'll kind of caveat that with, I'm a little confused on, is it a farmer's market or is it the Middleville market? And what's kind of the identity of the market, you know what I mean? Like, is this, because Cassie mentioned last time that she had like produce vendors and that sort of thing. And to me, that's like a farmer's market, but in my mind, that also would be something that would occur in the morning, not in the afternoon. Because I feel like that's not going on that whole rabbit hole, but like what is the market? What kind of vendors are eligible? And then once I'm clear on that, then I feel like it becomes easier to try to solicit vendors and companies and leverage our networks to try to bring in more.
You want me to address that?
Yeah, so what's
So absolutely. So the market, so this used to be a farmer's market. Then around 2020, we had transitioned to more of an artisan market. There's been, that's part of the reason why the time changed. Recently, there's been a lot of feedback about not having, farmers at the market. So there was inquiries from additional farmers to see if there's interest. We've gotten a few, but the majority of the vendors that are at that market are the same vendors that have been there for previous years. So there's very few of them that are new. Certainly, moving forward, there needs to be discussion at a committee level, establishing what the goals are with the market, if it is the farmers or not. But yeah, right now it's kind of a combination. And in order for the public to understand and us to get more customers down here, we need a little bit more clarity, just like what you said.
Yeah, because I completely agree on the more vendors, more traffic, more
Yeah.
for everybody. But it becomes tough to reach out to people within our network and say, hey, you should do this market thing. What it is.
Yeah.
Because I kind of remember, not to pick on like Mary Kay salesman, but I think I remember hearing that was, not that I know any, but I think I remember hearing that was like explicitly not the type of vendor allowed.
Yeah, like Emma or like that multi-level marketing stuff, but we did vote on that this year to allow like one or two pending availability. So we did a little bit of that this year.
And the person that did it was very tasteful and not pushy, and not like, well done.
Yeah, because we did add a code of conduct or whatnot that they had to be aware of before they did that, so that it didn't feel pushy or weird. But I agree, that's a great point, because like, I think it's kind of really the middle of the market,
Yeah.
and that's really what it should be, in a way, in my opinion, but that's up to the committee too.
Yeah, I like that color because agreed,
Yeah.
for a Friday evening, a middle of the market makes sense.
Yeah.
In the previous meeting, we spoke about potentially having a market 2 days a week or whatever, so we could make the other one potentially the farmer's market. If we chose one.
Very true. And then that would be huge to figure out before the signage comes into play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't order signs that make no sense, because you can always do middle of the market, but then you get one that says like fresh produce, and then you only put that out if you actually have a produce vendor, or something like that, but. Yeah, all good, really good points. Wants to bring back to that committee and Kathy and. Yeah. Do you have anything more?
Other than for Tim, are you on the Economic Vitality Committee? Because I think that'd be a good fit.
He's on the design committee.
Yeah.
No, I am not. I have reason to believe I am not.
Yeah, you're not out. I feel like that is something that you,
Yeah, I'm not
Bring
preparing
a lot of good
specifically.
points.
I guess I'm kind of going on with what you're talking about comparing Wayland and Cadillac to these different communities, because that's exactly something I need to think, obviously biased because I signed up for the committee, but the more we can pack out downtown with tenants and renters and that.
I would love to help if anybody, so if you guys are going and having a special meeting about any of that, I would love to.
We just add them.
My committee,
We can add him.
says Kevin, who signs up for everything.
I sign up for nothing, but I got put on a lot.
You are a lot.
That's because I get put on it. I'm
It's even so
voluntold. Voluntold.
that's a good point. I agree.
But no, that's really all I got, because I would just kind of go down the same trail you were on, but I feel like I'll ramble about that and I'll get told that that's a good conversation.
Oh, it's fine. But I like to at least get some of it out here, because I think it's important that we gauge each other too, so that way we are kind of all on the same page when it circles back around with the committee. Talk all you. I love talking. So. We can be here all night.
I don't think.
I think you're a little one, I don't agree.
Approach the bench, Your Honor.
I thought they were coming forward to make public comment.
Her time was up. You're past that. Okay, so, I don't really have much on there. I think this has all been pretty good for a quick meeting, kind of. We made it longer than I thought, so look at us go.
Look at us.
Okay, nothing from me, other than, not too bad, girls, but, yeah. some practice. I would take a motion.
Motion to adjourn?
Support.
Motion with support, all in favor?
Aye.
We're out.
How many scorecards? How many people need a scorecard?
I'll take one.
3?
I want to talk to you about money. I want to know.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll be here. I got planning commission after this. so- Sure. Whoever wants to talk in whichever order, I just gotta scan things while we're talking. so.
I gotta get my car in line.
Oh, okay. No worries. I think I seen 4.
Do you need a ride?
No, I'm